Lad, how am I on mute, blood? I'm all here saying what's going on, people. TroopzTV. I'm just seeing Mike is muted, blood. Yeah,
I thought I had the problem still. I can't lie.
Same.
like, look, man's off to a bad start already, blood. You understand? I might even just cancel this preview now, blood. I'm not even involved in the game now. You understand? Because how's the thing on mute, blood? Like, well, I feel like an absolute wild lad, blood. But all right, let's do it again, blood. You get me? You lot got the live blooper. You understand? What's going on, people? TroopzTV back again. Back our blood clot again. You understand? Obviously, FA Cup time. You get me? The FA Cup is back again in our lives, blood. The trophy that we dominate 14 times winners in that. Unfortunately, the last time we won it was in 2020, blood. So a bit of a trophy drought. So obviously, I thought to myself, I do the back again thing. You understand? I got Hussam, I got Flawless, I got Lewis, but I don't really link up with like my dogs, them. You get me? Like my Gooners, my fellow Gunners. So I thought to myself, like, yo, I gotta get 3 of the real ones. You get me? So I had to go and get the judge. I had to go and get my fellow yard man Deluded, and I had to go get man like Potsy, blood. You understand? Firstly, man, them, how are we all feeling? Like, I know you're probably good in your real life, but obviously football life is dead, isn't it?
Nah, real life's calm, but football life is struggling, bro. I can't lie to you. This Christmas and New Year's been horrible, troops. I can't lie, man. But let's hope we can pick it up, man. It's going to be tough, man. I'm actually not confident about this weekend, man. So we'll go into that. But yeah, but I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks. Pleasure for having me on, man. Pleasure.
Yeah, same as it's all good. Everything good apart from football, like, you know. So especially where I live, you know, the natives of them down the road are getting a little bit more chirpy as they go. Like, you know, they need to be put back in their cage. And unfortunately, Arsenal ain't doing it at this moment in time.
I mean, like Lee said, man, you know, everything's good in my personal life. Football's been a bit of a disaster. You know, I live in Tottenham, so boy, like it's peak. But hopefully on Sunday we do a madness. But I'm sure we're gonna get into it, Troops and the gang, man. I'm good though.
Man, what do you lot think has gone wrong over from Liverpool to Fulham? What's gone wrong? Because I don't understand, how you could go to Anfield, get a point, and then you don't take none of that momentum, none of that goodness that you've done. It just turns into absolute shit, blood. How can it flip so quickly?
Because we're not doing the basics, bro. You know, defensively we've dropped off. As we all know, football's decided in both boxes, bro. If you don't defend well and you can't score goals, you're gonna be in problems. Like we've hit a blip, really. You know, none of the individual players are shining, bar the usual suspects. And you mentioned the Fulham game. That was the first time in that second half that Gabriel, Declan Rice, and Saliba, they're normally heads and shoulders above everyone else, but they dropped to the level of the team. But yeah, it's nothing really good. We just hit a blip. I mean, I don't think we can be naive. We've seen other clubs kind of struggle. We knew it was going to happen to us. And Arteta and the players got it all to do, man. You know, whether we win a league title or we look back in December as where it was ruined is another thing. But everyone just got to pull their pants up, man, and get with it, if I'm honest with you, man, because the way we've been moving, it's appalling. And I think we all know that.
Potsy?
I mean, listen, I would hesitate to say that the whole season has been unconvincing in most games, if I'm honest with you. And a lot of people will say that that's a really negative thing to say and it's toxic, but I don't think that that's really too far wrong. I think Liverpool at Anfield was something that I thought we could do and come away from with 3 points. We weren't able to do that. Weren't able to go to Villa Park. Weren't able to go to St. James Park. Weren't able to beat Tottenham and the North London derby at home. Drop points at Fulham at home. Weren't able to go to Stamford Bridge and take 3 points. Most of the places I've just said, we were able to go there comfortably and win last season. So I think we're 13 points off of the pace of last season. The style of play has been changed by Mikel Arteta. And I'm going to have to sit there and point a lot of fingers at him, man, because everything that he's changed this season hasn't worked. He messed around with the goalkeepers. I don't really think Ray is a huge upgrade on Ramsdale. He's put our best left back over in Spain, and we might now have to call him back, because we haven't got one that can defend. We've put a midfield together that was never going to work with Kai Havertz there, in my brutal, honest opinion. Up higher up the pitch, he started to show a little bit of glimpse of what he can do, but he can't replace Granit Xhaka, in my opinion. We still haven't replaced Thomas Partey, and it's like as if some myth that he's been injured again. Everyone's sitting there like, injury again to Partey. Come on, man. How about just replace him in the summer? And get Rice as well, And up top, we've still got Eddie Nketiah to replace for Jesus, who, by the way, is our top scorer. So this style of play thing has affected the front four. We are more controlled, in my opinion. I don't really get where people go with that, because for me, we've conceded a lot. We've conceded more, and we haven't actually scored as many. So a lot of the queries are banging on Mikel Arteta's door, and I'm looking to him for answers now in the next coming games, because this one's massive at the weekend, and we've got to get back our league form, because you can't be top of the league, top of the tree at Christmas, and then be fourth at New Year, man. That just shouldn't happen. So, and against the teams that we've lost to as well, I don't mind if you've got City and Liverpool, yeah, and you lose to them too, it's disappointing. But when you can't beat West Ham and Fulham, come on, man. Like, he's got to do more for me, Mikel.
Gaffer, you're a big fan of Ramsdale, and
Yeah,
Ray has had a little part in this little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, it's nothing against Ray. You know, when you're making that sort of decision, it has to come in and just be a massive upgrade. Not, oh, is he or ain't it? It has to be, wow, yeah, get it done, move on. It happened with David Seaman, John Lukic, done within a couple of weeks, couple of months. You just went, you know what I mean? Yeah, done. And it's still there, and that has been a problem. I don't know if that's created team spirit and all that, like, you know, but. Someone said to me today, funny enough, he's talking and said, you know, where, you know, is it been a poor season? And Dan just pushed on it there a little bit, like, you know, and he come up with a point. He said, you know, he said, like, there's been, like, you know, papering over the cracks a little bit. And I said, really? Well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, you go back to Chelsea, go back to that Chelsea game. If Chelsea would have, which they should have done, seen that out 3 or 4-0. Do you remember Raya made a horrendous mistake and he didn't get punished?
Yeah,
if we'd have lost that, but somehow we turned that around to a 2-2 draw, and it sort of really just forgot about how poor that performance was. Just forgot about how really poor it was, because we got the result, you know, a draw at the end of the day. But, you know, looking back at that, I thought we were shocking that day. We were shocking. And, you know, we've gone to West London again, same sort of line to get there and everything. And it was all 4 against Fulham. And this one we got caught out on. So there have been some good performances in there along the lines, you know, particularly in the Champions League. But in the league, it's been a little bit patchy, a little bit some not great performances, but great results, if you know what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden, if you go back to it as well, I was thinking about it. Man United game weren't great, was it?
Nah, it wasn't, you know, like the way we like, bro, we could have lost that game if the Garnacho decision went the way it should have, because he was on. And then because the stadium went absolutely flat. I was in the ground that day and it went flat. Everyone was like, oh my God, that's it. So there has been like a lot of even moments earlier in the season before the little capitulation that we've seen.
It could have all gone wrong at Man United, but because the last 10 minutes, and it was an unbelievable last couple of minutes, we just forgot about how poor that performance was. You know, Tottenham, I think if you look back at that game as well, because it's Tottenham, well, all right, we got away with one. We got away with it, like, you know, so we sort of forget about it. We sort of play it under the carpet because it's Spurs. But realistically, you know, that was a poor performance. And I think that there've been many of them. Dare I say it, Luton, probably the best away game of the season. But realistically, at one stage of that game, you know, I was going mad because we looked like we was going to drop points to Luton. It was just a madness at the end. But if you look back at that, we got to 3-3, I think, after 70 minutes, and we didn't score until the 96 minutes. So there's been problems there. There's been little signs, and I people say, and I'm going to be really critical here, you might think I'm stupid when I say this.
I won't. I agree with like 9 times out of 10. I message you and I'm like, yo, Gaffer, you get me? So you know I'm with you, bro.
Oh, no. You look back at the game against Fulham, the goal against Fulham, Kiwiaka, but I think Ramsdale would save that. I know it goes under his body. Ramsdale makes some unbelievable saves. I don't see Raya making unbelievable saves. Now, I'm not blaming Raya for conceding that goal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
You're just saying he could have done better, which I totally agree.
I just think, you know, if it's a world-class goalkeeper, does he make that save? Does he make the save? I don't know. You know, does a world-class goalkeeper make the save against Salah in the Liverpool game? I'm not saying that they're his fault, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, I look back at Ramsdale and people go, oh, he's made mistakes and all that. Yeah, he has. But I remember Aston Villa last season, 2-2 before, you know, the Jorginho madness. It was an unbelievable save from Ray. When you remember he touches it onto the bar. We beat Tottenham 2-0. Everybody goes, "Oh, fantastic result." There was 2 important saves from Ramsdale in and amongst that game. And I don't see Raya doing that. I'm not having a go at him. That's just a fact. And I just think that's been a poor decision from Mikel. It's not the only one. I know Dan goes on about Tierney. That I get that to a little bit because Tierney's always injured. You know what I mean? Like I get, as we were talking before, come on. I get the thing of getting rid of Aubameyang. I get the thing of getting rid of Guendouzi. But Ramsdale, I'm not so sure that was the right thing to do. Like, you know.
A super chat came in and he said, "Big up Ethan, blood, my brother." He says, "Arteta had 5 windows to get the midfield patterned up. I watched DG constantly point out the need for an 8 low, but Arteta, the solution is Havertz." Do you think Havertz is the issue with what's going on? Because with Xhaka in there last season, we saw a lot more from Martinelli. There was a lot more fluidity in the midfield. The midfield doesn't look as good as it did last season. I think Potsy said it earlier that we had a fully working midfield, and then he's just gone and put Havertz in there. Obviously, adding Rice was the correct decision, but with Partey always being injured, obviously, if it was Rice, Partey, Odegaard, calm, that midfield could go and take on Europe. You understand? But when you throw Havertz into there now, it's just a bit of a curveball. Do you think that Havertz is the issue?
Indirectly, yeah, but it's a thing where I think Havertz to a degree has found his feet in that 8 role. But yeah, you haven't upgraded on Xhaka, you haven't replaced Xhaka. You're 2 very different sorts of the midfielders. The only commonality I see is that they're both willing to get stuck in. Doesn't make consistent third man runs like Xhaka. Isn't as cultured on the ball as Granit Xhaka. Doesn't want and seek the ball regardless of the game state like Granit Xhaka. So I've kind of gone the past looking at Kai Havertz really and truly, and I'm looking at Mikel Arteta again. Signings like Havertz, they make Mikel Arteta either look like an idiot or a genius. And right now, he looks a bit, unfortunately, like an idiot. You know, 65 million is not really pulling up any trees. I don't see how the signing of Kai Havertz gets us closer to Liverpool City in his own way or solves the midfield. And last time I checked, Arteta and Edu, they were both central midfielders. The one area that should be sorted is there. And I know there's all this talk about making Declan Rice this number 8 and things like that. Well, if Partey was fit or you had another 6, then maybe we'd see that other Declan Rice. And for what it's worth, even in the Fulham game, I think within the context of us being poor, I think Havertz, Odegaard, and obviously Declan Rice, they were some of the better players, but it feels like something's missing there. And then you touched on it. Obviously, Martinelli's got problems that he needs to address of his own, but, you know, Martinelli's not looking good. He hasn't got that link-up play, literally making it harder for us to score goals. And when I look at the fact of we look poorer defensively, we're creating chances, we're not putting the ball in the back of the net, I don't really see what our midfield's about. You can't really see at this moment in time how we're going to win games, ultimately get 3 points and fight for a league title. So as much as I have admiration for Arteta, since we've really announced ourselves as becoming allegedly Premier League title contenders, I have to be a lot harsher. And he's making these problems himself, if I'm honest. It's like, I even think sometimes, like what you just said there, if Partey's fit, does Havertz start? And if Havertz starts, is he a super sub or whatnot? Kind of like when we saw him come and score the last minute winners. Do we really need to spend 65 million quid on that? So Arteta's standing in the rain and complaining he's wet, and he's going to have to face the music. It's got to a point where I've gone beyond looking at Havertz or I've gone beyond looking at Zinchenko's frailties defensively. Arteta is assembling his squad. When it goes right, I praise the man. When it goes wrong, I have to ask questions because it does feel like we're bringing a blunt knife to a gunfight against City and Liverpool. So we've just got to hold it. But yeah, Havertz hasn't really done the business, really and truly. It's as simple as that. 65 million, it hasn't been spent well, really. And I do look back in the summer and I think to myself, obviously I'm no accountant, but we hear this talk around FFP and things. I wonder in the summer how much of a budget we actually had. And if we was really working to a tight budget, like Lee said, you know, we got David Ryan, we got him on loan. If we really had less money, surely we had to go for players that really moved the needle. Like, I don't know, I'm not a transfer man, but the 65 million on Havertz, could that have got you this Douglas Luiz? Could that have got you this Zubimendi, who probably advanced and stuff? Him as well. But we're in our own issues, man. I do think this season we've invented our own issues, man. I think Fulham, we didn't turn up. As Lee and Dan eloquently put, there was a lot of the games, and yourself, Troops, there was a lot of the games where we do enough to kind of nick it, but we're not playing amazing or anything close to the standards over 90 minutes. But when you get last-minute winners, fans don't care. It's only when you approach December where results are not correlating, everybody wants to have these discussions. And as we all know, Arsenal fan base is very special. You've got, you know, the positive toxicness, and then you've got the negativeness. There's very little balance. And yeah, we're in a mess of our own doing, in my opinion, guys, man. I can't lie to you lot. Like, Havertz, isn't it? What can I say? You lot got eyes. You're seeing it. It's peak.
Potsy?
Listen, man, when we signed Kai Havertz, I was stunned, if I'm honest with you, because I didn't feel like the 3 years that I'd watched him, he was going to bring anything to Arsenal. And I can't sit there and get excited still because he scored 4 goals. I just don't look at his all-round play and see an exciting talent there. I don't see any flair. I don't see someone who's going to drive us forward. I don't see someone who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. You know, when we had Santi and even when we had Mesut Ozil, to be fair to him, you thought to yourself, something's going to happen. When it's with him, the ball either goes backwards or it gets flicked on to try and flick it on to somebody. And I just don't really think that's what we need right now. And I'm fine if he wants to be part of the squad. He has to be in the first 11 right now because of injuries. But actually, it's not something that I want to be looking at in the long term. The other thing I'll say about it is when we signed him, I was really worried for our left-hand side alongside Zinchenko because of how impressive Granit Xhaka was. One thing I didn't even think of that might have done was affect the performances of Martinelli. And I kind of think it has now. I really think it has.
It has.
Martinelli
he's
isn't
the same,
just a
man.
poor player. Yeah, he isn't just a poor player overnight, Troops. Do you know what I mean? Something's happened around him. He can't really get as much stick elsewhere because obviously some of it is on him. But when you look at it, I just think you can't just overnight be poor. And when I look at him and on the other side, Saka and Jesus not really cutting the mustard. Erdegaard's only turned up in the last few games. And to be fair, even in the last 2, hasn't really been that great either. I look at it and think, yeah, something's wrong with his style, man. Something's wrong with it. And I don't think Kai Havertz was the right guy. I'm with DG in terms of we could have had Kudus, we could have had Musa Diaby, we could have had James Maddison, who was the one I wanted. We could have, and he's doing well. I know he's injured, but he's done well at Tottenham. You could have looked at somebody like Szoboszlai or Cole Palmer with that money if you really wanted to, or look to go and get Ivan Toney, like you said, right? So for me, it's a madness to actually have spent that much money and pay the guy 300k a week or whatever the hell he's on, right? So for me, it's a player that I don't think deserves all the stick, but it just ain't worked for him. I don't, and you know what? Again, I don't blame Eddie Nketiah for not being good enough, or Reece Nelson for not coming on and scoring a hat-trick, or Kai Havertz for not fitting into this side right now. I blame the manager for sticking with him or signing him. Because for me, we've needed an upgrade. We've needed an upgrade on Nelson for how long? We've needed an upgrade on Eddie for how long? Eddie was playing when Wenger was here. He should not be here still. So I look at it, Mohamed Elneny is still at this club. Like, bro, don't get me wrong. Fair play to you. Yeah, Cedric Suarez.
Blood, this man trying to piss me off, like.
But the problem is, Troops, right? I said this right at the start of the season. The window slammed shut. And I said to judges, I said, that window's like a 6. No, it ain't. It's a 9 out of 10. We got Rice. We got Rice. It is not a 9 out of 10. Now people are seeing why it's not a 9 out of 10. Because Cedric's still on the bench. Mohamed Elneny's still here. We're calling on Jorginho. People are saying, where's he gone? We need to now bring him into the side. These are players that shouldn't be coming into the side, but are now being considered because we haven't got anybody else. Eddie Nketiah, top scorer. Really? Did you think that was going to be said in the words of Arsenal? No. Reece Nelson coming on to try and win us a game. Smith Rowe trying to find his feet after 2 years of pretty much being injured. The squad is not good enough, man. So when people say to me, are you shocked by Arsenal and where they are? Not really, because I expected a blip. I've not been impressed by a couple of games, of course. But I haven't really been impressed all season. I've not once said that we're going to win the league. I still think City will win it. I think Liverpool are looking like they're going to finish ahead of us now. And believe it or not, there's players below that are looking at Arsenal thinking, well, if we're going to want to go up with Liverpool and City, I fancy our chances because this lot look awful. So, man, we need more players. We need more. And our manager and Edu have got to look at himself because you say we need more players. The guy's had 6 goalkeepers. He's had about 6 left backs. We're playing a centre-back pairing now, finally, that one of them was on loan for 3 years in France. We're playing holding instead of, right? We finally got a midfield together that's now been broken apart and Kai Havertz has been stuck in it. And we're still waiting for him to sign a proper number 9 because the last one we had was Aubameyang. So when you look at it like that, it ain't great, is it?
Gaffer?
Well, listen, when you put it like that, you can't argue about those certain things. But listen, Partey's been a massive loss for us. You know, I know that the history record of his injuries and all that, but last season he weren't that injured that much, and maybe that's I think it was he didn't miss many games. I know that he missed some important games, but basically he was about for much of the season, and by no coincidence we had a very, very good season. Put that on top of that, and you lose Xhaka. I think like not only have you lost 2 physical, I think presence in that midfield as well. Like, you know, and then I'm gonna go to the fact is that when Partey was fit, he was playing at right back. So I don't know if he was in this where he'd actually be playing in this team at this moment in time. Would it be as a holding midfielder, and where would Kai Havertz be? And I think that Kai Havertz has been, because of that, maybe thrown into certain games that he wouldn't have been and whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't think that he's done too badly, Kai Havertz. I really don't. I think that the last few months, I think he's done okay. He's scored a few goals, but his work rate, has been pretty good. And there's something about him that I do like. When you can't help it, you think, like, should I like this fella or not? But I do like the way he gets stuck in. I do like his bit of skullduggery at times. I think that we need someone like that. That's why he's got so many bookings. Funny how he get more bookings playing for Arsenal than anywhere else, because that's playing for Arsenal. But I think I'm going to just keep my powder dry on the Kai Havertz one. I get what everybody's saying. It's a lot of money and all that to spend. But if the one thing I will say is durable. He's available for most games, so we'll have to see on that. I don't really know why it's not affect. It's affect. I don't say that again. I don't believe that it should affect the likes of Martinelli, because Martinelli's not playing well. Let's just get that down to a fact. He's not quite at it as that. Saka's not quite at it, but that's got nothing to do with Kai Havertz. That Saka's not been quite good, and Jesus the same. You can go on to other players, Ben White, Shinchenko, nowhere near the standards of they have been over the course of the season. That's not down to Kai Havertz in the midfield. Something's not quite right. But if I think now I'm looking at, I'm with Dan on this. I am now looking at the manager. I'm looking at Arteta and going, right, I don't think, even like today, I know I don't listen to a word he says in press conferences. He don't think that he's going to be able to sign anybody. They're going to say that. Mm. If he doesn't, if for instance we're not able to sign players, then it's up to him to sort a solution out to it. Because, like, when you think about it, boys, he's gone into the season after the summer window with the players he's got. So he can't be sitting there going, oh, I'm not happy with these players. All of a sudden, like, after a few games, oh, I'm not happy with these, because you have a chance to sort that out in the summer. So he's chose to go with what he's got to now. Maybe, like, that's why January is not so good, because you can't change it so much. But I think one or two, I think will be in there. And we need a little refresh. If that's not going to happen, then I'm looking at the manager and going, right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to change things? What are you going to do to make these players play well again? Because, as you quite rightly said, Martinelli has been picked for Brazil this year. He's not a bad player. He's not going to turn into a bad player overnight. The same as Saka, the same as Jesus, same as Shinchenko. Last season, people are criticising Shinchenko a lot this season. Like, they weren't saying that when we walked out of White Hart Lane last year. You know what I mean? When he was outstanding, or last season, no one was saying, "Oh, we need an upgrade on Shinchenko," or he's defending it. It started to go a little bit wrong for him through one mistake against Liverpool, but maybe he's been found out a little bit by playing in that role. Been a bit sussed out. I don't know. Maybe because he's inverting all the time, it's having an effect on Martinelli. I don't know. But these are the solutions that the manager's got to work out. And by God, boys, he's got to do it. Otherwise, because the one thing that will be really annoying me is that we were so much better than Liverpool last season, so much better than Spurs, so much better than Aston Villa. Now we've spent more money than all of them three teams. And if those three teams were to come above us,
that's ridiculous.
That needs some sort of explaining.
I don't understand how that can happen, though. Emery's above us, blood. We swapped Emery for Arteta. Villa are playing better football than us. The window's open right now, and all I'm seeing is left back, left back, left back. Tone's not going nowhere. Juve came out and said that Vlahovic ain't going nowhere. The other links I see are summertime links, like the Gutierrez one, the Hato one, the Zubamendi. All of these are summer links. I'm not really seeing nothing like coming into the club in this window, and we need reinforcements, because the position that we're in, we're going to be looking over our shoulder soon, blood. You understand? Because them kangaroo hopping pricks, they're just there, blood. They're just there, bro. They're just literally on the corner waiting for man to slip, blood. Waiting, bro. You understand? Pull something out the pouch and do a mad thing. You get me? Like, we're supposed to be looking up the table, but everyone's getting close to us now, blood. You understand? City went to Saudi, won a trophy, came back, got a game in hand, and they're above us.
Hmm.
If we don't move in the market, could we miss out on top four?
Nah, man, I still reckon we'll get top four, but we've seen this movie before. Like we can't afford to play any more of a dangerous game with injuries. Injuries can happen. Obviously, Timber was a bitter pill to swallow. Nobody could ever see that happening, but I still think we'll get top four. But it's like it feels like a missed opportunity. It does feel like we shoot ourselves in the foot. It does feel like anytime we begin a process or have anything like we're on the cusp or something magical, it's like we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. I think our biggest problem is that I don't think many of the players in our team are actually bad players. It's like the kind of squad rankings we're giving them. We're taking players that should be on the peripheral things and making them regulars. And then you look at certain people, you know, if anything happens in midfield, for example, Jorginho's getting an extended run at this moment in time. He's not a bad player, but he's got evident limitations. And we've seen this movie before. I mean, you touched on it. I mean, I think everyone would like a couple of signings. I actually wouldn't mind a left back. I think we need a defensive kind of body, especially if they can like do the Tomiyasu and Timber thing. Because if there's one more injury in our defense, whether that's Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, and issues, I'm very passionate, as you saw with the super chat, about central midfield. I've kind of given up on a striker or a winger to compete with Saka. I think that is needed. I'd love to wake up and see that happening, but I just think it's too much to do, really. And I do think, as much as we're talking about transfers, I think there's so much internally on the coaching front that Mikel Arteta has to arrest, really. And I think our team has to be a lot more street smarter. Like I mentioned, Jorginho, I think it was around the Brighton game or just before that, where we won quite convincingly, regardless of the scoreline. And he was saying we need to be more ruthless. We need to kill teams. And I do think we're at that point as a team where these players have played enough, whether they're young or not. They've seen this current environment and this climate. It's like they need to learn from their own quote unquote mistakes or experiences. And I think we're in that unique position where I like Arteta, but he's a novice manager and we've got a young team. It's almost like the blind leading the blind. And obviously you're going to have to learn these lessons the harsh way. But I do think we need at least two players in January, whether that's on loan, whether that's permanent. That's Edu. This is your market, innit? I mean, everybody can kind of see whether we were happy with our summer market or not, there was more additions that could have been done. So from the moment the summer window closed, that's when Edu should have kept it moving. We all know we'll wake up and see signings in January, but we all know the Octobers, the Novembers, this is when you're meeting with clients and agents and doing these things. So this is where the boys have to earn their money, really and truly, on the transfer front. It's as simple as that, if I'm honest.
We're always talking about another transfer window, ain't we, guys?
And
right?
this is another
transfer window. Another transfer window. Let's have another. The guys had 8 transfer windows now. Like at some point, this is going to be called your team, Mikel, and you are going to have to deal with it. So I can't be dealing with this. We just need to get to the window. We need a few more players. You know, this is on Edu as well, man, because both of them, they should be looking now and saying, right, who is it we're getting? The window's been open nearly a week. Nobody's come in yet. We've got no left back at the club at the moment because they're all injured, right? Kivior was having to play there, I guess, at the weekend. So that's a problem, right?
We've got one out left back, you know.
Well, this is it. You might have to put him there. This is crazy, right? So when I look at it like that, people say to me, oh, just in the transfer window, we go, this was 4 years ago we were saying this. In the transfer window, what we need to do is actually, how about do something on the pitch? Because I can't be looking at transfer windows all the time. And Edu's getting given awards, by the way, somehow. I mean, maybe there was no other nominations that month.
I lied. He was the only man nominated, blood.
Maybe he was the only one nominated because he's been given an award. I don't quite know what he's done, but I've seen a lot of people come into this club that ain't been good enough. I've seen Runnersons and Ryans, and I've seen, you know, goalkeepers, Matt Turner, Willian, Danny Ceballos being kept on loan too long, Lokonga, Tavares, Cedric.
Sorry to cut you, Daniel, but
on, man.
Is that on our, like, I agree with you because we do this collaborative thing, but as much as I don't really rate what Edu's doing, yeah, could you argue it's on Arteta? Because if the manager is telling you to bring these players, he probably does disagree and he brings them. Surely Arteta's got to hold that.
Yeah, Arteta has to hold that if that's how it works. I still don't know how it works. I imagine they work together, right? That's what we're being told. So they're both going to have to hold it. But when I look at some of the players that have come in, I think they've done great. I look at what Partey and Gabriel did start with. I thought, yeah, 2 good signings. Ødegaard, Ben White, Ramsdale, I thought was a good signing. I'm a big fan of Tomiyasu, although a lot of people aren't. I know he gets injured, but I think he's had a really good season when he has been fit. So there's definitely been some good signings, right? But I look at some, you can now add Kai Havertz to that, who's up and down for me anyway. That's not been a great signing. So there's been a few that have not been, but no one really likes to mention them. It's always about Edu and Arteta are special. They know what they're doing. Actually, it's probably about 50-50, right? They've got a lot right, but they've got a hell of a lot wrong.
So for me, the last 18 months, our signing's been decent, really. Like the hits have been.
Yeah.
Facts. There's been more L's than W's.
Yeah, man. But how about just do something on the pitch with the team you've got? It's your decision to send Tini out on loan. Kivior, he's your guy. Make him work. Yeah, make that left back work. It's clearly not going to, in my opinion, but this is on you because you're the coach, not me. Kai Havertz, it's not quite working in the 8. Well, you signed him and you put him there. Make it work. Jesus, Saka and Martinelli, why aren't they working together? You make it work. This is your job. This is why we pay you £8 million a year. And if you can't do it, at the end of the season, you get somebody else to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? We have to be ruthless. The fan base, I said this before. I said it to judges and to the lads. I said, look, there's a lot of fans out there that do say it how it is. Trust me, it ain't all one-sided. I think DG was talking about it earlier. There's so many fans out there. I don't know how they protect this manager so much. It is unbelievable. I've never known a manager like it. I don't know,
bro.
why.
It's like I was saying to Gaffer before you, because Gaffer jumped on first when we was waiting for you two, and pause. And that's a pause, blood. That's a pause, blood. That's a fucking pause,
I'm glad you jumped in, man.
That's a pause, blood. Yeah, but Gaffer said, like,
Oh, man.
my head. What was I saying? Look, because the pause took me away, blood. What was I gonna say?
Protected manager, innit? Protected manager. That's
Yeah, it was. This is like the Wenger era, bro. But Wenger had money in the bank for the protection. Like when it was Wenger in, Wenger out times with the banners started coming out and shit.
Yeah,
he had credit in the bank. This man has no credit, but yeah, man, are putting you on a pedestal, blood.
Well, I said it last night on Judge's channel. I said there's a lot of fans that seem to treat Arsenal Football Club like it's their baby nephew or their little brother. Right? Keep away from him. Don't you dare slag him off. He's doing his best. He'll be back. Don't you wait. It's like he's had a sports day and just lost a sack race. And it's like next year you go get Johnny. Say it how it is, man. Jesus Christ. You have to be more ruthless, man. It's just unbelievable. I just don't matter, Arteta, you lost. Don't matter. It's Carabao Cup again. We don't want the League Cup. We've got bigger fish to fry. If we lose at the weekend, I guarantee the fans will be like, don't matter, Champions League. If we go out to Porto, don't matter, and I'll go win the league. We've only got one game a week. You can't lose. This guy is the most protected. When are we actually going to allow somebody to say, this is the year that we expect to win the league? When is it acceptable for Arsenal to win the league? 2029? 2020? When is it? When can we go?
I'm moving like Chelsea with the death row contract.
Jesus, man. Like, honestly, fam.
For me, it's just about high expectations. Like, I like Arteta. I don't back you religiously. You know, if you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. In the same way, if Saka is amazing, we're going to waffle about how good he is. Arteta has to face the music. You know, is he doing an impossible job fighting Liverpool and City and what they're doing? To a degree, yes. But if I rate this gaffer and his tactical nous and all of these things, then kind of like what Dan's saying, when it goes the other way, there's issues. If Pep Guardiola loses a game, there's question marks. And I think when you've got the money that Arteta has spent, when you've got the responsibility, because remember, like, he's the first kind of post Wenger, manager. He's not a head coach. When Emre was asking for Zaha, he was bringing in Pepe. Arteta is getting what he wants. It is kind of in Arteta's image. And I do think a lot of this is of his own doing. I back the guy, but I do think, I agree with Dan, it is a bit weird in that, you know, you can't just call out things for being wrong. And that's, I think, that is the issue with our fan base. You can't just say somebody has done something wrong, for whether that's the players or the managers, before they start saying you've got an agenda and stuff. And it's quite silly. I don't know what it is, man. I just think a lot of people, obviously Arsenal, since we've joined the Emirates, gone to the Emirates Stadium, we haven't been competitive. So I think they just leech on a bit of belief and just back anything. Like when we went out of the League Cup against West Ham, there were some Arsenal fans saying, oh, at least we're not going to have to play twice or three times against Liverpool in quick succession. Did we not want to move into that direction where we're competing on all fronts? And I think we all know it's a process and we're not expecting to be the biggest and baddest in the league, but I just think there has to be balanced and healthy expectations. And Arteta, when you hear the man speak, whether it's PR or not, he's got massive expectations on himself. And as much as I like him, we've got to remember, we did him a favor giving him this job, you know. Like, I like the guy a lot, but he didn't have no experience. Exactly. And he knew that as well, because if you remember, when we got Emre, Arteta was linked with the job. So he must have known now wasn't the right time. I just want the same expectations for everyone. If we're meant to be a big club, ask questions, and that doesn't have to be resulting in you've got an agenda and all of these sort of things. Because last season, okay, since Arteta has come in, he's rebuilt our club, we're breathing again and stuff. But last season, we've announced ourselves as title contenders. Now it has to get a lot harsher because football's harsh. You know, in many other years, we might have won a league last year. We were playing City. The world is harsh, so we've got to be harsh internally, man. Like, it's just crazy, man. But our fan base is up and down, man. There's very few balance. We know, because we love this football club. It's just not going to change, is it? It's crazy.
The thing is, and that's what I don't understand about it. You'll get people go now like, oh, because you've said, like Dan said what he said. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you weren't saying that last season, and exactly. You wasn't doing this and all that. Like, listen, Arteta has made some good signings. There's no two ways about it. The ones that matter, his signings, and I mean this, apart from this season, the ones that matter, I think he's got right. Let's first of all go to the Ramsdale one. Was a good one. Ben White, a lot of money, but it turned out to be right. Zinchenko, fantastic. Gabriel was another one of his signings. Very, very good. You then go into the midfield. Declan Rice, you know, you can't argue that one, like, you know.
Even bringing back Saliba and keeping Xhaka as well to age up.
Yeah, done a good job with Xhaka, like, you know. Also up front, I think, you know, we'll all say that we're all big fans of Jesus. So most of them have gone well for him, like, you know. Some of the periphery ones, and sometimes it's hard. That ain't someone like Trossard, for instance. It's very, very difficult to for him to get into the side when you've got players in front of it. So it's very, very hard to make those signings. So he's done that. But what and I think that, you know, you make a great point there. The old DG there. I'm going to call you DG if that's all right. Like, you know,
yeah, man.
what he's done is, because there was a progression from 2 seasons ago when we got in 5th. No one was. If you go back to that, myself, I wasn't losing it, even though we dropped off against Tottenham at the end of the season. Of course, we're disappointed we didn't get the top 4, but we see there was certain things happening with the progress. The following season, last season, it was off the chart. That first 6 months was off the chart. I see things on tour, and I thought, wow, this
like a dream,
unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. So it's jumped up massively. But when you jump up into that and you put those expectations there, I'm now thinking, whether I'm right and whether I'm thinking I'm wrong, and correct me if I am, I'm thinking now, we've got a chance of winning the league. We've got a chance of winning the league. I think we can win the league. Now, coming away from Anfield, I'm thinking, well, we could win the league. Coming away from Chelsea, I'm thinking, we play like that, we're not going to win the league, you know. Now, the last 2 games, I'm going to be really honest, have dented my confidence whether we can win the league. That's what it's done. Because going to the game against West Ham, on the back of the Liverpool game, I'm thinking, right, beat West Ham today, beat Fulham, we're going to be we're right into this title race. It's not happened. So straight away now, I need the manager and the players to give me confidence to say, do you know what, that was a blip, we can go on. And that's where it is. It's not a criticism of Arteta. It's not a criticism of the players and whatever. Get these players going again. I think everybody, there are people that are quick to jump on the Arteta bandwagon and have a go at him and things like that. And there's fans that are critical for the right reasons. I don't think Dan's one that jumps on. Dan's more like he questions, and I think that's fair enough. And I when he puts those questions that he's put up there, I have to think about that. I don't go, yeah, I'm Arteta in, and I'm not going to listen to all that sort of stuff. So that's where it is at this moment in time. And you've got to, you know, like people telling you, well, you know, it really baffles me when a fan would say, whether it be on Twitter or talk to you, go, we've just lost 2 games, you know what I mean? Support the team. Well, what have I done for the last, you know, you don't think I've not.
Exactly, them man are dickheads, blood.
I'm not thrown away like the last 2 games.
Because they like lying to themselves.
You know, and I do, you know.
False positivity.
When it comes to Arsenal, I'm going to admit it, I'm not like this in life. You know what I mean? Like, I have setbacks in life, and I don't lose my shit. I don't like, you know what I mean? But Arsenal lose, I lose my shit.
Yeah, my head goes. I'm not going to lie.
Arsenal win. Arsenal win. I'll probably go overboard about it a little bit too much. But that's the way I support my club. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm all in.
And even though we're crap at the moment, and I'm like, me and Dan, and we will all talk about it and go, yeah, Arteta's rubbish and all that, mate. If I hear some Spurs fans saying that, I'm going to protect him and go, what are you on about? You know what I mean? So I think there's a balance of it, how it is.
Yeah,
you know
we can cuss.
We can cuss.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, we can cuss. But you don't like it when we're being attacked from other teams and that, like, you know, and that's how it is. And I feel that, you know, I don't think that beating Liverpool will convince me we can win the league because it's a cup game. But if we can go and beat Crystal Palace, and then we can go and back that up, I think, by beating Liverpool, then beating West Ham, beating Nottingham Forest, I'm going to turn around and go, do you know what? Arteta, you're making it right again, like, you know, and that's what he's got to do. But if he goes to Crystal Palace and we don't win that game and then we don't win at Forest, you know what I mean? There's got to be some sort of accountability for those results. And instead of people turning around and you going, he got us to top 4 last year. He's brought us out of the mud. You know what I mean? Yes, he has brought us out of the mud, but there would have been a manager, whether it be Mikel or someone who we don't even know, would have done that as well. Because Tottenham have been in the mud and who thought an Australian would come and sort them out, like, you know? It will happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I can tell you this now, a lot of experience. There will be life after Arteta. Another manager will come along and do well for Arsenal or not do well. The same as it always has been, like, you know what I mean? Same as the players, it will be moved on. You know what I mean? So when people turn around and go, what are we going to get then? Well, what happens if tomorrow, if Arteta says, I've got an offer for Real Madrid, and he goes off there? Well, what are we going to go? We ain't got no one for the rest of our lives now because Arteta's gone. No, like, it will something will happen. You know what I mean? And that's so. I don't know why people go too much about it and too much another way of it all, like, you know. And listen, another thing is, right, I'll be really honest, like, a lot of people don't like Arteta, right? I think that's a good thing because I can tell you that we all love old Tingy Egg at the minute, don't we, over at Man United? Why do we all like him? Why do we all like him? Why are Tottenham fans? Yeah, exactly. Why are Tottenham fans hating Arteta? I get people keep coming up to me, I hate him. So he is doing something good, boys.
Yeah, listen, there is things he's doing right as well. Don't get me wrong, right? But obviously, the way we're talking at the moment is a lot of pressure on him, and there's concerns for how we're playing, and that's what we're looking at. And sometimes people will go, look at what he's done, look at what he's done. I don't care what he's done. I want to know what he's going to do now. Because for me, what he does next, and that's the big thing for me, because people will say that he's put us in this position, the best that we've ever been in the last decade. But I look back to the last decade of 2014, and we've won trophies, man.
Mm-hmm.
We won
back-to-back FA Cups.
Back-to-back FA Cups. We won trophies. In 2018, we got to the League Cup final. 2019, Europa League final. 2020, then he won us the FA Cup, and since then, nada.
And that weren't really his team that won the FA Cup. That was Emery's team, blood.
It was an Emery team that was toxic. He had to get rid of. So when you look at it, he's got to win. He's got to deliver this year, Troops. He's got to deliver for me, man.
If we lose on Sunday, God fucking willing, we don't, yeah? Is that when there's pressure on him? Because there could be pressure. Is there already pressure? I don't know if there's already.
There should be pressure. But
like, for me, he's under pressure. He's under pressure to win this game on Sunday, bro.
I think it does, man. I think it does because we all know Arsenal lose one game, the Daily Mail, all of these people, they've got all the articles. Obviously, a team like Arsenal, you lose one game, you're in crisis. And, you know, it is going to happen. You lose to Liverpool, you're out the FA Cup. That's the second cup we're out of. Champions League's a pipe dream. We hope for the Premier League. Of course, there's more pressure. But at the same time, you know, we got to remember, throughout Arteta's time, you know, it's relatively sunny right now in his climate as a manager. There's definitely been some darker times, back-to-back eighth, and there was external pressure and Arteta out and things. Internally in the club, they never wavered and things like that. We've all watched the all or nothing thing. So I would say there is pressure, but probably internally.
You see, with the all or nothing thing, yeah, they would put out what they want you to see as well, blood.
100%. They're not going to show up the real.
They would paint that image, like obviously it does look like how they made it look in it. It does look like that. It's very harmonious. There's like a lot of like
they're not going to show us
no
what
like animosity
environment looks like. 100%.
But like. If like Kroenke could be sitting there now and be like, Brad, I've put hella peas into this thing, yeah? I've been backing this, bro. I 100 million I spent on a player, blood. And you ain't brought one trophy back, blood. You dash where the Carabao Cup every year, like you think you're Arsene Wenger. When you're not Arsene Wenger. You don't have the minerals to be throwing away the Carabao Cup, blood. You understand? Let's be real now, blood. You get me? If you go and throw away the FA Cup now, because we've seen him throw away the FA Cup since he's won it, and that's the only fucking cup he won, blood. If he goes and picks an understrength team, and then Liverpool come, remember, Jota's fit, bro. The man, they love dunking at Emirates, blood. You understand?
We don't have the luxury of weakening our squad for Liverpool. It's Liverpool. Like, we don't have that luxury. You know, if you beat Liverpool, it's not that the pressure is off you and stuff, but it kind of it's not that all's forgiven, but beating Liverpool, it makes the fans feel great. Obviously, we know football is a weird game. If you go with it's easier said than done, but you win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row, the sentiment looks a lot better. You know, it's 19. We've played 19 league games. That's a long time in football. I go back to August, Fabio Vieira and Eddie Nketiah were getting a lot of praise with our Arsenal fans. That's not exactly the case now. So we've got to get on with it. Kind of what Lee was saying. It's like if we're going to feel sorry for ourselves, we're not going to get anywhere. We have to praise ourselves for anything good we've done. We've got to forgive ourselves for what we've done bad. I'd say the one luxury is that we're still in and around everybody with the league. And just keep it going, really and truly. We've got no choice. Again, this comes with playing for a big club. Again, we're not City, but for all of what was at City are right next to us in the table on points. But everybody said City's finished and things like that. If they gave up, like, where would they be? Like, we just got to get on with it. But I agree with your point that I do think the pressure starts to happen if you don't beat Liverpool. Obviously, we only got 2 games in January as well. The best thing when you're under pressure is just consistent games people forget. Boy, I don't know, man. It's not looking good. But
if we don't beat Liverpool and we can't get through against Porto, then he better hope he wins the league. Otherwise, he's got to go. And that's just the true facts. You can flip it around and say if we beat Liverpool and we go through at Porto and we win the league, then fair play. But that is what football is, yeah? Football should be black and white. It shouldn't be this, oh, well, we'll give him another window, give him another season, give him another 200 million. He needs a cut and he still needs to buy a striker. All this crap needs to stop. He either wins something this year or there needs to be context as to why he's not. Yeah, i.e. we get to a Real Madrid Champions League final when we lose on penalties. Fair play to him. We lose the last game of the season, we come second to Man City. There's context, right? But if we're getting dumped out to Porto, we're getting dumped out of the first round again of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, and we don't win the league, then I'm time to call it quits and say this process ain't worked and go and get Don Carlo in or someone like that to go and win now. Because I'm fed up of projects and youth projects, man. I need to go and win, man. It's been 20 years, 30 years without a European trophy. 30 years without a League Cup, 20 years without a title. Do we just keep going until it starts hitting 40s and 50s by doing processes? Come on, man. We're the 3rd biggest club in England, man. Come on. Start acting like it, man.
Can't argue that. I don't think there's no pressure on him after whatever happens on Sunday. I think if we lose, people will brush it aside. Other people will have the ump about it and all that, but I think then, as Dan says, on top of that, if you was to lose to Porto, then that will be the one that will bring a lot of pressure. And then if you're not in top 4, there will be lots of pressure on the season, So listen, the best teams don't win the Champions League, as we know, and I think I think Chelsea won it when they didn't even qualify for Europe.
They finished 7th, I swear, or 6th.
Yeah, so you can put all your eggs in that basket if you want, we'll see. But listen, Porto's not going to be an easy game, and certainly there's going to be tougher games going on after that. But you ride your luck, who knows? But I always think, even in the FA Cup, you need to have a little bit of luck in that. It's not been kind to us with the draw. When you look at other teams that are in it,
Chelsea got fucking Preston.
Yeah, they're guaranteed win. Tottenham have got a walkover tonight, because Burnley won't play all their players. You know what I mean? So there's certain games you need and what you can have, and that's just how it is. But Liverpool will be a good test for us. See what happens. But for me, no pressure on him on this game. And listen, if we win this game, I'm going to be really honest with you. It doesn't change anything for me. It's just glad to be in the next round. It don't change our league form and all that. Crystal Palace will tell me everything I need to know about that. But for me, it's just nice to get into the next round and be involved, isn't it? That's how I look at it.
I got 2 more questions for the man, then, before we wrap this up. Who starts in goal on Sunday?
Well, Ramsdale starts.
You see, for me, yeah, if this is me now, yeah, Ramsdale should start, and if we win and he performs good, he should keep his place.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll argue with that.
That's how I see it, but that won't happen.
I think Raya's going to play.
Do you really? You think Raya will play this one?
I think Raya will play, man. I think Arteta's going to name his strongest team. But at the same time, if you name your strongest team, especially the strongest back 4 available, and then Ramsdale's behind them, I'm for that, because I know Ramsdale has a lot of question marks. But one thing I think has been unfair to Ramsdale is, he's been playing in front of a rotated defense, and everyone's just been shambolic in the changes, in the opportunities he's got, really, with the exception of Brentford, where he looked a bit like he was losing confidence. So I would like to see Ramsdale play, to be fair with you. But I just expect Raya to. I don't see why Mikel Arteta would change it, really.
And then listen, the other thing is, this is since he's been left out, this will be his first home game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why it'd be nice for him.
So I think I'm with you on this, Troops. If he plays well, he should stay in it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Raya starts, because don't forget Raya ain't playing now for another 2 weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean? That would be a kick in the old goodies, wouldn't it? Like for him, like. But for me, Ramsdale starts.
Yeah, I can't lie. I think Ramsdale. I thought Ramsdale would have started as the cup keeper and Raya's now the Champions League and Premier League. It's normally how it works. But if we're going to be going full 11 and like literally full 11, best 11, then obviously Raya will come in. But I want to see Ramsdale start. If I'm honest with you, he's the one I'll be playing anyway. I've not been convinced by Raya. I've seen a lot of mistakes this season from him. And although I've seen mistakes from Ramsdale, it's over a kind of 3 season period. Whereas with Raya, it's been over 19
6
games.
months, blood.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'd have Ramsdale, man. But who's going to play at left back? That's my question. Is it going to be Kivio?
I put fucking Saka there, blood. I don't want Mertesacker.
Hey, Zinchenko, you better be fit, man.
I don't want Mertesacker at left, bro. I don't want Mertesacker at left back, bro. I don't want. I want to see a Mertesacker play at left back, blood. Why the fuck we playing Mertesacker at left back, bro? Big man thing. I've seen milk turn quicker than that, you blood. You understand? Fucking hell, dog.
Did they not say Kivio was one of the quickest in the team when we signed him?
Bro, did you see him? He couldn't even run against Fulham.
Yeah.
I'm doing the watch along. I'm like, these man told me he was quick. He can't even keep up with fucking Tom Kearney.
If you're
the fuck, bro?
If you're flat,
you weren't running down Bobby Reed, blood.
No matter how quick you are,
you weren't running down Bobby Reed, blood. He's running down fucking Kearney, bro. The fuck, dog.
Oh man, I hope Kirill can find his form, but it don't look good, man. Zinchenko, you need to play, man. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, man.
That's a true
Is
saying.
Zinchenko fit or is he injured?
You need to pass that fitness test. You probably won't, but you need to pass.
I think he had a scan, but no one said like how the scan has gone.
This is it. Should have told Tommy Asu stay for 1 more week and then you go to the Asia Cup. If I'm honest with you, but it's got to be Zinni, man. It's Liverpool, isn't it? Like put the strongest team potentially available.
And Salah ain't there, so he might do all right.
Yeah, well, we all know the other attackers, in it. And to be fair, Kirill got savaged against PSV, so you don't need much to get him, really, if he's there. And Zinni, to be fair.
Predictions, man, them.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal, man. Let's just be positive. 2-1 Arsenal, magic of the FA Cup. I want this cup home.
I'm saying 2-1 as well, still. That's what I've been saying. 2-1 Arsenal.
Godly.
2-0.
Clean sheet?
Clean sheet. Why not? Like Ramsdale in goal. Clean sheet. If it ain't 3-2 to Liverpool with Reyes in goal.
If there's ever such a thing as reverse psychology, I hope it comes in, man. 2-1 Liverpool. I can see us going out.
Bit nervous about the game now. If I'm honest, I was relatively optimistic. Clearly.
Couple super chats before I let the man them go. Big up Cryptic Dino. You can't fold at the smallest signs of adversity. When we were great against Brighton. We've been great in Europe. Encourage the players they watch. Man, blood. Like they need to. It works both ways, bro. You understand?
But who don't encourage the players though? Like
I like that. Do you?
Us four sat here. What have we said? That's not.
Who did we cuss, blood?
Like,
you get me?
That's crazy.
Like the only man I cussed was Kirill, blood. He's pissing me off. Get me? Fucking Mertesacker, blood. Big up, Ayo. He says Havertz isn't the main issue. We should have signed an 8. I believe he relied on Partey and it backfired. Inexperience from the manager, to be honest. Gaffer said that as well, that Partey is a big miss. I agree with that one as well, blood. Big up Ethan. Last season, it was just Pep Arteta was fighting. Now he has Klopp to deal with. I don't see Arteta beating them. Troops, Sunday is a must win. Broski, yo, pressure's on, blood. You understand? Big up A. I don't even know what icon that is, blood. Like, what emoji is that, blood? I don't know.
Pressure's a privilege, though, on the topic of that, man. If we don't have pressure in life, what are we going to do? Like, you manage and play for Arsenal Football Club, there's always going to be pressure, and the same is extended to half these teams. Relish the pressure, man. Keep going.
Got to deal with it, mate.
So just get on with it, yeah.
Big up Ayo again. I need him to coach the team, not just about transfers. The man them have touched on that as well. Big up Todd Miller, my guy. He's a pagan. Little Chelsea wildlad. Man said, what fish is on the menu on Sunday? Well, Todd, you know me. Mina yam fish. So go ask Don Robbie. You get me? Probably some ackee and saltfish knowing them, man. There are some fry fish or some catfish or some tuna sardine or some fuckery like that, blood. You get me? Over, yes, sir. Curry go. You know what I'm saying? And then big up Ayo one more time. Arteta's actions have backfired, suggesting a touch of arrogance. It's essential to maintain balance in our judgment, avoiding a one-sided perspective based solely on the retention of favoured players. I think he hit the nail on the head with that one, blood. I'm not gonna lie, you get me. But man, them, I appreciate you lot coming on, taking time out of your day. You get me. Everyone's channels are in the description, blood. So you lot, make sure you subscribe to Judges. Make sure you subscribe to Deluded. Make sure you subscribe to Potsy. You get
Appreciate that, bro.
10 content coming out of here, blood. You understand?
Come on.
Until Sunday, blood. You get me? You lot pray for me. I'm gonna go bun some weed and drink some NSC. Deluded's gonna go drink some rum. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man,
Potsy's on the fish and chip. Potsy's on the fish and chips, and Gaffer's on the pie and mash. Until then,
Love it, man. Love it, man. Love it.
Hey, until then, we're out, blood.
Say, folks, man.